Hello class, let me give you some feedback on the first part of assignment number 4, task 4.6. Demonstrate your CSS positioning skills by creating and customizing a tabbed info box or sliding panel. I'm going to demonstrate the tabbed info box, and there's a link here that will take you to the Mozilla detailed description of this assignment. This is more of an assignment in following instructions, directions, and kind of a review of a lot of the concepts covered in the CSS Styling the Web chapter of this Mozilla tutorial. So make sure that you've gone through all of these lessons here, particularly CSS layout, the layout overview, perhaps also the grids and the floats, definitely the positioning, and this is going to review a lot of this information. So you're going to end up with something that looks like this. Notice that it's just a tab of information on the left. On the right, you have just some content. So let's review this. Now, it's going to take you step by step through this. This is actually, I would go through this tabbed info box, follow the instructions. It's going to give you all the code. Again, this is more of a review and how well can you follow instructions. The example I'm going to give for you is actually the second one all the way down here. So I would do this first one. Notice you're going to add the JavaScript. So do that one. And then this is the one I'm going to demonstrate for you right now, the end result. And again, it'll take you through this. Let me also review it now verbally for those of you that are more verbal learners. So I've divided the HTML and the CSS into two files. They'll have you add it to one. You just basically take all this CSS and put it here inside of a style tag. So notice you have this fake content, and that comes in after the body tag. It's a section tag, so everything's going to be in sections. And there's a class called fake content. So there's my fake content class. Notice there's a period or a dot in front of it. The background color is gray. The text color is white. The padding is 10 pixels. The height is 2000 pixels. To make that really tall so that it fits all the content. So what you want to do is take this in here and change the colors. Try making it blue, red. Try making it the color of the text black, just to see that this is impacting this part here. Now, what the big lesson here is, this is about positioning, and you'll notice that although this fake content section is first in the HTML, it's not first here. It's just over to the right. So after that section, I have my info box section. That's this red section. So if we go back here to the CSS, notice there's a bunch of compound selectors here relating to the info box class. Let's just go to the first info box though, right here. Notice the width is 450 pixels. That's this width here. The height is 400 pixels. The position is fixed, so that's what we're reviewing. We're reviewing absolute, fixed, relative, and static positioning. So fixed positioning is going to fix this to the top right up there. That's why it's over there. The next style here is the style infobox UL. So notice that this info box is composed of an unordered list, and then there's a list item inside of that. Here are your three tabs, tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, and they're laid out horizontally across there. I have a padding left and a margin top for that UL. I also have another class here, another compound selector actually, with this info box class. The list tags are floated to the left. So try changing this. Try changing it to the right. Try changing the width, try changing the list style type, review what these are over in the tutorial. I also have an anchor tag. So these are getting pretty complex and pretty involved here. I have an anchor tag inside of a list tag inside of the info box class, which is a div tag right here. So that's that A tag, that anchor tag right there. So I've set the display to inline block. That's a review. So inline block means these are going to be all on the same line. If you change that to block, notice that these will then be stacked on top of each other. So the reason that I'm giving you this assignment is this is really good practice to take existing HTML and CSS and reverse engineer it, modify it. But you need to understand what display inline block is, what width 100% is, what line height. All of these is all review from the tutorial. So if you're having trouble and struggling with what these mean, just go back and review the Mozilla tutorial in maybe more detail. Go back here and review styling text, styling boxes. The positioning is really what this is testing. So back here, I have my list tabs, and then here I have another class called panels. Notice the panels is inside of the info box. These are the individual panels. So again, notice that these are not in order that they appear on the page. That's why we need these position rules. If they appear in the same order, then this content for the panel would be below the tabs, but they're inside of the tabs. So I have an active panel class. So let's go over here and look at the active panel class. This is the panel that's active. We're going to activate this with jQuery, and they're going to give you the jQuery. So there's the fake content. Let's look for the info box article. There is the info box panels. So notice that this is class panels inside the info box. So notice that there's two periods here. There's an info box period, space dot panels. That's a compound selector with two classes. So this is only referring to elements that have both classes associated with them. The panels here, the info box panel right there, well, I should say this panel here is inside the info box. That's why it's written this way. So notice that I'm clearing the float. So you need to learn what that is. And this time the position is relative. So I'm mixing relative, fixed, and static. Static is the default. So I'm mixing those three positioning elements. Height is 352. Now notice that inside of each panel is an article. There's the article right there. There are three tabs, so there's going to be three articles. There's one article here. There's another article here, and the third article is right there. That's called the third tab. So I've also styled those info box articles. Okay? Article is an HTML tag. That's why there's no period there. It's just a normal tag. It's one kind of selector. There's classes, there's pseudo classes, there's IDs, and there's tag selectors. So notice that that's another compound selector. The background color is that red there. You can try changing that. The text color is white. The position this time is absolute. So I've actually mixed 4 different positioning elements. So I want you to copy what they're giving you here in the tutorial, but I also want you to review this video and kind of make sure you understand why they're going with a position absolute instead of relative or fixed or static. And then the last one is active panel. The z-index, I'm not sure they covered that. The z-index has to do with stacking order. In other words, we need to put tab 1 in the top of tab 2 and tab 3 because they're back there, they're behind there. But when you click on tab 2, the jQuery is going to put that into the index position 1. The higher the number, the higher the stacking order. So, and then we get back to the fake content. So go ahead and go through this. I have this video as a review of what's going on, but I think you'll have no trouble moving through this tutorial. It's pretty self-explanatory. It goes step by step, the general setup, styling your tabs, add the CSS, and then styling the panels. And then notice at the very bottom is adding the JavaScript. So that you'll just add to the head area of your HTML document. And later on, if you take the next 2 semesters of web development, you'll learn what all this coding means.